Staying with the idea of other artists you have worked with, one of the cool surprises for me in doing research for this was I consider Rush to be one of the more difficult bands to cover,
Yeah,
because
for sure.
it's, well, like Styx, they have such a unique, iconic sound.
Yeah.
And but I got to say, your cover of Limelight was really
Ah,
fantastic.
okay.
And you did it, when Neil Peart passed away, and you performed it in concert. I would love you to release that at some point, because
Mhm.
you really took it. And well, that's what I'm wondering is, how did you pull that off, in the sense that you're honoring this classic song, but you also made it your own, you know?
Well, okay. Well, thank you for saying that. First of all, I thought for sure you were going to bring up that Alex Lifeson played on the Lost Brotherhood album in 1990.
Well, yeah, that was the
So
connection, but that,
that
yeah.
was so. I mean, I've would meet the Rush guys, at least 2 or 3 times a year because I was 14 years in the same under the same management, and I got to know the little bit that I know of them as human beings is they're pretty exemplary. They're pretty remarkable people.
Hmm.
I only met Neil Peart about 3 times. Only had one really great extended conversation with him about lyrics. I did mention that the first time I really, really paid attention to the Rush lyrics was the song Limelight. So in some ways, it was that conversation I'd had with Neil that I was reflecting on right away when I got a call from a lady that we both have worked with for 40 years, Sheila Posner, who told me that Neil was gone before it had really been announced. So it was earlier in the day I'd heard it, and when I got to the show that night, it was in Phoenix. Um, I was just kind of playing around with it on the piano, just not thinking about an arrangement or anything like that. Just realizing I've only got my piano, and I'm kind of reflecting on the lyrics of Limelight. And in the my little warm up, I got a little more adventurous with it. I actually had my headphones in and I started singing it. And Todd, our Zuckerman, our drummer, came and tapped me on
Yeah.
the shoulder. He went and he just went, "Do that tonight." And I went, "No, no." I mean, he just left. He just
Yeah.
passed away today. He went, "No, no, do that. What you're doing." It really was more or less just me kind of reflecting on the little, like I say, the little bit of association I had with them over the years, and just what wonderful lyrics those are, and I really relate to that aspect of him even more than the fact that he was such a phenomenal drummer. And I think part of what you're seeing in that clip that it was just a fan that videoed it. I think it's pretty close to 1 million views now, maybe
Yeah,
more.
there's a few of them out there, but yeah, there's, I think, one that really got
But
numbers.
the first one that was done that night.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few. Yeah, you're right. There are a couple of other good ones. In fact, I'll circle back to that in a second.
Okay.
That actually gets a bit funny. That night, it was it was just a really good moment. I'm glad that person captured it and that he put it up there. Todd commented on the poignancy of the fact that everyone left the stage. Then it's usually I get a moment on stage, a couple of minutes to kind of just do a little um, repartee with the audience with just myself on piano. And in this instance, he said it was really this stage revolves in Phoenix
Hmm.
and at that theater. And he said he taught himself. He said, "God, it was such a moment to look at the empty drum kit. There was a real poetic thing there,
Oh.
and yet here Neil's lyrics being interpreted in a completely different way, but really connecting the whole picture together. And he was thinking of himself as a young boy and seeing Neil Peart on drums and going, "This is what I want to do." And the fact that I, was associated in a way with them through their management. It was a big life moment. It's basically what he said. And I was really surprised by the reaction the next day from people that were suddenly viewing it, and I think by the next morning it was over like there was like I got a call from our manager and said that thing you did last night is over 250,000 people have watched it so far, and you're like, oh, okay. 2 nights later, this is the funny part.
Hmm.
It said 2 nights later we were playing in Los Angeles, and Libby Gray, our lighting director, came up to me and said, as I'm entering the building this morning, she said there was a big, person out there with big sticks, had all the stick stuff on, and right next to them was a person with a Rush shirt on who said, "Are they going to do Limelight tonight?"